This is Overtime, a weekly moment of off-the-cuff commentary on everything from sports and politics to observations about everyday life from NFL All-Pro Carl Lee. Welcome to Overtime.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee, and I'm your host of Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and this is our Overtime segment. Earlier in the week, we had a interesting show. Teran Rush and Coach Carp was here, and we were talking about the relevance of a coach. Mm-hmm. And it seemed, it seemed to come out to and talking about old school, new school, because I get critiqued about, always talking about back in the day, and I wanted to make the case, which I don't know if I made it, but it, back in the day versus today, there's not a lot of difference in the game itself other than rules and regulations and those kinds of things. But I think Coach Carp made the case that there were some things on the personalities of the kids, the realities of the parent or parents, how they have impacted the game. Yeah. Because of how that kind of whole situation works out. So Hollis, I'm going to ask you directly: Are we in a better place today in our sports? Whether it's has nothing to do with no old school, new school, but are we in a better place in sports now than, let's say, when you were in sports and you look back at it and assess what you got? Because you had me, and you had which was a hard-nosed disciplinary coach, no nonsense kind of thing, versus we talked about the differences in coaches and what we think they need to be now. Tell me, where do you think we are? What do you think a coach should be at this point?
As far as overall, are we at a better place? I can probably say no, right? Okay. Because I think that, although, back in the day, I started playing football in the late 80s, right? We wanted to win all that, but I think it was more, this is a game, you go, you have fun, and whatever evolves from it comes from it, right? I think now there's a lot more social pressure, right? However, now I think, as a football coach, you have to be a teacher now. You cannot afford just to focus on discipline. You can't be a gruff, tough, cussing and screaming. You have to be able to teach the game, because the nuances and the passing and everything's got more analytical and everything's got a little bit more scientific when it just comes as far as strategy as football. So football is sort of, in a lot of ways, have turned into a thinking man game as opposed to a brute. So I think, far as that is concerned, I think that's good, because, again, you have to be articulate. You have to be able to think through a process when it comes to the sport of football. But I think, with that being said, you have additional social pressure. And I mean, I there's YouTube accounts and social media accounts with kids who are 10, 11 years old with thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers. And it creates so much social pressure where I don't know if our kids are necessarily, as Carp said, I don't know if they have that joy of the game like we had.
So to that person who's got their kid on social media, highlights and all that kind of stuff.
And I'm talking about like pre-high school.
Yeah. And they have some skill set. They have some legitimate skill set. To that parent, my question is to you, the reality, God forbid, that your kid could get injured, and he had this was his only goal in life, in a sense. What do you say to him if it's career ending? What do you say if he's not able to actually make the adjustment from, let's say, middle school to high school or high school to college. Maybe he doesn't fit the metrics that Duran was talking about. Yeah. And so you don't get that offer that you thought you were going to get just because you're good. How do you handle that? Are they even aware of these detailed kind of things that could block their kids out?
I don't think so. And I think particularly like when you have this kid, like if you're in middle school or little league and you're really, really, really good at that level, I think a lot of times because of the added social pressure that the parents are putting on, the kid's whole mentality and everything is just wrapped up into I'm the football player, right? Because it's all around. It's not like back in the day, if you go to practice and go home, you just Carl Lee.
Yeah.
Ain't none of that.
And your buddies or nobody's like looking at you as anything different.
Yeah, you might be good, but and again, even if you're good in the neighborhood, right? When you go to the next neighborhood, they don't know you like that.
Right. Well, you know and let me say this. If you act like you good in your neighborhood, you got a problem there too.
You got a problem there because it's a different sort of consequences.
Because nobody want to be around you. You thinking that you the special guy in the community.
But now it's not like that because now if I'm on social media, I'm not only good in my neighborhood and my city.
I want to be around you too.
Yeah, I got shine coming from all over. So it's not just about the football field. It's the attention that I'm getting online and social media. So you become like we're almost creating celebrities, and we know what happens. As far as the history says, what happened to like child celebrities.
Yes.
Particularly if they don't pan out.
Right. And again, being really, 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 really good in youth football, being really, 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 really good in middle school football, and maybe you're small.
Yeah.
And you don't really fit the metrics, but you're tough. You're all of that kind of stuff. And you go to high school, and high school's not winning. So the first thing that I'm thinking that a parent may think with that child is, I'm going somewhere else. We want to go somewhere that's going to win. Well, you go there, and maybe they already got a guy that's bigger than you. Are you willing to sit? Like, are you willing, Turan's sitting there saying, he sit, 2 complete years with one game, I think, in his first 2 years, and then got hurt. So he maybe got a full season 1 year, and still he had to go through the process of JUCO, but ended up still playing ball at a college level.
And I think the even more dangerous situation is when you have that kid who's really, really good in middle school and at the youth level. Then they go to high school. And let's say they fit the metrics. Let's say as far as the metrics, they're good.
Right.
But they don't have the mentality. They don't have the mind. They don't have the perspective. And I think that's when it gets even more dicey. And I think you see those kids getting in trouble because they can't figure out, hey, I'm talented, but I just don't, nobody's ever taught me the mental side of how to deal with all this. And I think that when we put our kids on these platforms and we're allowing them to have all this shine, and that's coming over to their home life, and where they're the celebrity at home,
right,
and they don't know how to deal with that pressure. They don't know how to deal. They don't know how to like mentally prepare themselves for that next step. I think that's when you're seeing the real danger. And we've both seen that, even around here.
Yes. And I can make it very, no matter how great I thought I could have been.
Yeah.
Mom, dad wasn't having it.
Not at all.
They wasn't having it. There was never like, I'm going to walk in the house and act like I'm somebody
Take the
special.
trash out now.
Yes. Which was my job.
Yeah, take the trash out now.
Why is that? Why have you not taken the trash out?
Yeah.
You never got a chance
Mom, I just had 5 interceptions. I don't give a darn.
Nothing.
Take that trash out.
And you never became anything close to a celebrity at home. Yeah. You fit in with how the discipline works. You're accountable for everything that everybody else there was 5 of us. Yeah. And everybody had the same rules as long as you was in the house.
Yeah. And I think now that could change because now we're first 5 of us and I'm the star athlete, male or female, whatever.
I got to go do this.
I got to go do this. I got to do it. But if I'm on social media to add to this and I maybe got, let's say, through all the social medias, I got maybe 1 million, 2 followers and I'm actually generating a little income off that.
Yep.
Now the power dynamic is starting to change a little bit, right?
All of a sudden, you got you You got money coming in.
You got money coming in.
We got to keep that flowing.
Yeah.
Whether it's not saying parents are taking that money, but saying now this kid's building up a bank account that maybe at some point in time he may end up being able to pay his own way to college.
Yeah.
That would be a great thing. But again, he may be paying that because maybe even though he fits the metrics, he don't have that toughness that sometimes you have that comes from home.
Because now I got to put, like you said, now you ain't got time to take out the trash. I got to get you here, there.
I got to get you in front of that camera on your phone and do a TikTok video.
I got to do the training. Yeah. And here's the thing, to your point about going to different schools and transfer and everything like that. So now, even to that point, I got to make sure that you are in the best position possible to prosper, to keep that momentum going. Right. So now I can't have you. We can't afford to have you sit on the bench for a year going to this school. We got to go here. And I'm not saying again. And what we're saying is obviously not every household is in this situation, but I think a lot think like that to some degree.
Yes, and the idea of, or the thought process of winning and losing. I truly believe if you put yourself in a losing, if you're playing on a team that is, or going to high school to a team that's playing bad, and you're going to be part of that team, and so you're going to be on maybe a rebuilding team that may take 2-3 years, and you may be a senior, or you may go all the way through and they hadn't quite turned it around.
Yeah.
I think you learned something there.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you learned something there. I'd rather sit on a team that's losing than sit on a team that's winning. And let me tell you why. Because the chances of me playing on a team that's winning.
You said sit on the bench?
Sit on the bench. Like if I'm not starting, I got no chance to start either place.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm sitting at South Charleston, and I know that I'm not going to play at Cap.
Yeah.
But because Cap's better, I'm going to go to Cap.
Yeah.
I just as soon sit at South Charleston than I would Cap. Because you there, all my buddies are there. It's my community. And the problem is, and we didn't bring this up, on the show, but I mean, what are we doing to the community? I mean, because are the parents not interested in community anymore?
Nah, yeah, I think that's gone, bro.
Because the kids can't have it if you're not taught it.
Yeah.
Then you can't have it.
I think pride in community. Not to say that. I ain't gonna say totally gone, but I think the idea of that being a primary motivation, I don't know if that's there anymore.
So there's not that idea of, okay, I can't wait to get to high school because I'm gonna help that football team get better. I'm gonna help South Charleston get better.
I think some kids think like that, but I don't think it.
The majority. You're making the case that's the question I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do we have enough of those kids who say they want to go in and make that change? They want to go in and make that team better. Because we talked about it. Cap was they were all at it. Those kids were out there on the field. They wanted that win.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying South Charleston didn't. I think
South Charleston wanted it too.
I think they wanted it too.
Yeah, they were just.
But you could just see the Cap was just better.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And we talked about the reality of how big of a game that was for both of those teams. Mm-hmm. The team that could win that game, but it was going to be the team who got, started getting frustrated because it looks like they're going to win.
Yeah.
You don't have no motivation to fight that all the way out.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I just think, again, it pains me just thinking back to your original question because, just playing football was such a joy.
Yeah.
And that's why I stopped coaching. Realistically, it's not fun. It's not fun to be a part of that because you got to deal with even as I was never a head coach at a high school level. Just being an assistant coach, just have to hear the parents and the constant complaints and this and this and that. It's just not. They've almost sucked the life out of it to me.
Yeah, and I felt that too, because I felt like if I'm not the right guy, if I'm not the right guy to do this, and I don't know what I'm doing, I can't turn it around. I'm too hard on the kids. if I'm all that, then I can fix that, man. I'll fix that for everybody. And I've had people say, I wish you would have stayed, especially with the group that they got now. But it wasn't. I didn't want to be to blame.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But I think every coach, you need time, man.
Oh yeah, there's no
football.
question.
And again, I'll say this: whether you coach from high school to college to pros, coaches need time, man. There has to be a maturation process where you got to allow me just a little bit of time to turn this ship around, man.
And to your point
it's
about
no
parents,
time now, man.
Yeah, that to the point of the parents. Parents don't have that.
You got 5 games, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You got 5 games.
Because my kid is coming through the system, and in order for him to get a scholarship, you got to have a winning program.
5 games. You got 5 games, bro, and that's crazy. You know what I mean?
And I'll say this, and I've said it before, and Hollis and I have had this conversation. You don't have to be on every athlete who has a D1 scholarship is not from a winning football program.
Although I would say it helps.
It don't hurt. It don't hurt. I mean, it don't hurt.
It don't hurt.
It don't hurt. But you can be on that team and don't fit the metrics, and ain't nobody looking at you.
Yeah.
And again, I make the case. I am a prime example of a losing program and still being seen.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact that you don't have to be there, and you can endure the losses, and you are much better for it as a person.
Yeah, although I say it depends on your position too. So I will say that too.
You're too
depends on your position.
You're iffy on me on this one.
Depends on your position.
All right. Well,
I think you can still get seen, but I think maybe, and I'll say this, to Rand's point, your process may be a little different. So if I'm a quarterback, I fit all the metrics. I'm a good player. I'm just on a terrible team. I may not get to WV and Marshall. I may have to go through JUCO. I may have to go through prep school. So that way, it depends on how bad you're going to want it.
Or you come in and the scouts work you out because they see that you fit the metrics. They work you out and say, "Oh, well, he does have a strong arm."
And that can be true too.
Yeah. So
your process may just be a little different.
It may not be the classic.
It may not be streamlined. Yeah.
Yes, it may not be straightforward, but there is a process for that to happen.
Exactly. Okay, that makes sense then.
Because, like I said, I'm at Marshall. I had a ton of scouts, not because I was a great player, but. Okay, let's go see if he's.
Yeah, because
we need to see if he's okay.
Because even at the South Charleston games we've been to the last couple of days, I've seen it, and I won't because he's still young. I won't put that on him, but I think I've seen a D1 lineman on that team, even at South Charleston right now.
Oh, yeah, because he fits the metric.
Yeah.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get out of here. Hope you enjoy the show, and we will get back with you. This is Carl Lee, and we're with Let's Talk.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Contact Carl Lee on email, letstalkcarllee@gmail.com, or text 409-422-7539.